Next, as we close out our day and really reflect on all the great speakers that we heard today, there were many, I'm excited to introduce our closing keynote, the Honorable Los Angeles County Supervisor Hilda Solis. Supervisor Solis has been a champion for BizFed Institute since I've assumed this position as president over 2.5 years ago. She's someone that we can rely on in many areas. She is a forward thinker, a visionary, and that goes for all communities. She's a longtime leader at the national, state, and regional level. The supervisor will conclude our program with remarks on what the county can do in terms of collectively alleviating poverty and reducing homelessness for all of us Angelenos. Supervisor Solis, the stage is yours.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's a delight to be here. I have to tell you, in all honesty, I think the last time I was here was when I graduated, which was too long ago. But true story. But things have changed, and I'm delighted to be here. And first of all, I want to thank BizFed, the Institute, and the University of Southern California for inviting me here and to talk about what I think is really one of the most pressing issues of our time. And you all have been talking about this for most of the day, and some of us have been working on it for years, decades, some longer than others. But nowhere are the issues of homelessness and poverty more pressing than right here. I think the epicenter is Los Angeles in terms of the nation. We know that we have a lot of work to do, and we have to do more to uplift those who have fallen through the cracks in our economic system. And I'm glad that your topic is interrelated, because it is interrelated. Poverty. It's really about poverty and how we can help mend and help people. And I want to thank you so much for raising those issues. As you all well know, here in Los Angeles, we're nowhere near where Houston is. And Houston, I think, congratulations on the work that you've been able to do there to address housing and homelessness. But here on any given night, as you know, we have well over 66,000, if not more. And I would say that we probably do have more homeless. During the pandemic, we saw record numbers of people everywhere from all walks of life, not just in Los Angeles City, but around the county of Los Angeles. And as someone who represents many cities outside of the city of LA, I can tell you firsthand that it has been of great concern for many of us, because it isn't the typical single male. And sometimes it's very disheartening when you find that there are so many families, women and children. And that isn't something that all of us like to talk about, but it's real. And whether they are living in a car or living on someone else's sofa or in a motel or hotel, nonetheless, it's a major problem that we have to begin addressing in a more humane manner. And according to statistics that I've seen, and you probably are well aware of this, and you probably talked about it earlier today, was the inequities and disproportionality that it has on communities of color. And I think that for us here in Los Angeles has been one of the more, how could I say, challenging, very, very challenging things for us to go through. At UCLA, I know that our sister campus put out a report that predicts that as many as 120,000 households with about 184,000 children in Los Angeles could experience homelessness because of this pandemic alone. I don't know why we don't read more about that. I mean, that in and of itself is a big headline for us to take some more strategic action. And you know as well as I do that the pandemic made clear that housing is a matter of public health. And I don't think we talk about it in that manner. And really the need to highlight the importance of sheltering the unhoused and keeping these families and households in their homes should be our first priority. If possible, it really should. And I think that many of us are beginning to think that way. We need everyone's help to face this crisis head on and to find those solutions that help those most vulnerable, our neighbors. And for the life of me, people would ask me, Supervisor Solis, why is it that so many people from out of state come here? They're the homeless. And I said, let me tell you something. The people that I have met in my district, out in the cities, in the watersheds, I say, what's going on? Why are you here? What happened? Well, I don't want to leave this area. I don't want to go downtown. I want to stay in my community. But you know why? Because I have family out here. This is where I was raised or I was born. And so you kind of have to process that in a way and then understand, okay, where they're coming from, and then seek the kinds of assistance that we need to make available, I think, in all parts of the County of Los Angeles. And no doubt we have to do something here in Los Angeles, in the city. And we will work with the city officials. The county will do that. In fact, in a matter of weeks, you'll be reading about a Blue Ribbon Commission report that is being proposed to look at a reformed, I don't want to say a new, but reformed governance model. And I hope that it will help to expedite the contracting and other things that need to be taken care of so we can minimize duplication and we can make sure that those entities that really need the funding, that know how to deal with boots on the ground, I mean, really know how to do that, can receive the appropriate assistance. And not all of it is just about funding. A lot of it is coordination, which you heard earlier from many speakers. And it's having that conversation. And it is true. Put those egos aside and forget about the silos and talk about how we can all solve this problem. That's why I think at the County of Los Angeles, we're working hard right now to make sure that we can keep people in their homes and prevent the increase in homelessness. Our budget, by the way, reflects our values at the County of Los Angeles, and that's why the county has honored its commitment to fully fund an affordable housing trust fund. How many counties in the country have set aside to do that? This was something that came up several years ago. In the past 5 years, the board has allocated $400 million to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And already it has generated approximately 9,900 affordable units. So we are putting our money where our mouth is. I would hope that other local municipalities and others would want to help us. But we can't do it alone. We need the private sector involved. There's no doubt about that. Let me tell you another concept that we are also undertaking on the board. It's not new, but it's something that the county has said, we're going to focus on this. And under my leadership, we piloted a program, a $14 million pilot community land trust. They're called CLTs. It's a partnership program to create pathways to home ownership for low to moderate income households. So it's not a new concept, but it's one that we are saying it makes sense for some of our places here in Los Angeles. So why do we have to build from the bottom up all the time when there are potentially places out there now that perhaps can be taken over by a trust fund, and those people that live in those units can be the owners and gain equity in escrow, and go through escrow, gain equity, assets, and then be able to turn that over to their children or to their families. And I've seen it already demonstrated. We have 5 pilot programs. We did ours less than a year ago in East Los Angeles, in Boyle Heights, in that area. And there were, I want to say maybe 20 families that were just so thankful, living on the edge, and we're told a couple of years before that they were going to sell the building, but we were able to prevent that. So I think these are ways that we can begin to start looking at peeling that onion, that complicated onion, and making sure that we are addressing homelessness and before it happens. Under the President Biden's American Rescue Plan, the ARP money, we incorporated a significant Well, what we did was we made a significant investment in housing and homelessness, which included $5 billion in new emergency housing vouchers for individuals and families. And that was one of the big asks for us in the administration, to see how we could loosen up those vouchers to make them available. These supports are for renters and homeowners, and that too will help us prevent homelessness. Back in 2017, I want to remind you that an estimated 40,000 Los Angeles County residents were on a waiting list to obtain Section 8 vouchers. You can just imagine what it is right now. It's more than double. And through the American Rescue Plan funding that we received, Los Angeles County received, we were able to obtain 6,800 emergency housing vouchers across our 16 public housing authorities in our region. So it's not impossible. And now's the time for us to knock on those doors back in Washington, D.C., and let them hear our voices. So it is going to help us in the beginning, but I would go a step farther. And right now, I think a lot of us should be talking to HUD, to the Secretary of HUD, and talking about where those vouchers go. Typically, they follow an individual. But what if you were to say, if I have a building, 600 units, and I want to keep those vouchers here for 20 years, you can build more reliability, sustainability, resiliency, instead of giving it to someone who may leave in 2 years or 6 months for whatever reason. That happens. But we have to be a little bit more practical, and I think add some flexibility to that. I also want to mention that in the American Rescue Plan, we included $1.9 billion that we received for LA County. Okay, with that though, the board has developed a spending plan for the first half of that funding, well over $400 million to dedicated housing issues and homelessness. That is a big chunk of money that's going in. And I'm not saying money is everything, but I'm saying it's a good start for us here in LA County. That includes about $58.5 million to address the housing shortfall and help to stabilize housing. $40 million of that will help to go towards generating an additional 600 affordable housing units, and $18.5 million is dedicated to stable housing, including funding for Stay Housed LA and mortgage relief for small property owners and landlord-tenant mediations. We've also heard that that's a big concern, and we know it is. This funding, as you know, will help us again fill those gaps in local rental subsidies for individuals and their families in permanent supportive housing. Also want to mention that we were able to leverage our state's Project Home Key funds and create more permanent housing. You might have heard about that today, I believe, and maybe in discussions. Started out with first obtaining motels and then hotels. Some of our cities as far out as in the San Gabriel Valley are now purchasing hotels and motels for permanent housing for women and children and for transitional age youth. That just happened this week in the city of El Monte. And I want to applaud them, because I think many of our cities who have been somewhat reluctant to get into that kind of venue should explore those and go visit those facilities and see how they work. I also want to give a shout out to Governor Newsom, because last year he was the one that helped us, allowed us to use money so that we could purchase these hotels and motels as interim housing, and now with Project Home Key, create permanent housing. And that's going to be our next effort as well. So far in the county, 1,200 individuals across our county's 10 Home Key sites have been housed. And an additional 6 sites will also come about during round 2. So I'm proud that we've been able to champion some of these ideas and help to push them out. Sometimes we, as a big entity, don't always get credit. I'm not asking for credit, but I am asking for people to help join us, to be a partner with us. In the 1st district that I represent, during my term, approximately 5,681 general, affordable, and permanent supportive housing units are either currently in pre-development or are scheduled for completion. And I want to note also that we're being smarter in terms of where we look at, in terms of properties, where we can build. And one of the things is you don't have to look too far. You can look in your own backyard. The County of Los Angeles, we have that big LAC USC property. Well, we're going to be building housing units. And that old general hospital that has remained vacant now for almost 10 years, we can restructure, reinvest, and create potentially up to 600 to 700 units of single housing units, or for 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom, 3-bedroom, and hopefully convene really, I think, a magnificent national effort to say that it can be done. But more importantly, around the campus, we're going to be also putting up a behavioral health resource center. So it isn't just about housing, it's about the wraparound services that need to be provided. And that's just as essential. So mental health and well-being has to be a big component of whatever we do. And we're working with our Department of Mental Health to secure funding to do that. And I'll invite you to come and visit us if you'd like at our campus to see phase 1 of what we're calling the Restorative Care Village. Currently, it is complete. It's not operational yet, but probably in 2 months, 3 months, it will be. We're providing 96 recuperative care beds and 64 crisis residential beds. That's just a start. And across the way, if you may recall, some of you, LEC USC campus, it was a women's hospital that stood there for many years. It no longer is there. We tore it down. We're hoping to build more health-related services there, subacute, all of that that's necessary, and sobering centers that are needed that have gone away for so long. And across the street from that, we'll be building another additional, hopefully, 200 to 300 units of homeless housing that will become permanent. And that will be for the people that we treat, that are coming out of our jails, that are living on our streets, or that are on the verge because of poverty of not having their housing. So all of these things can happen. I recently, we opened the doors to the First Care Village on Vignes Street. And it was, again, our property, LA County's property. They were going to use it as a staging area for the new jail. But I said, I think we have better use for it. And so we decided to build with our CARES Act money interim housing for 232 units for people that were on Skid Row and in Los Angeles. And if you were to see it, you wouldn't believe it. These are containers that you see coming from the ports, but if you were to walk into one, you would think you were in a Ramada hotel. They're small, but they're very, how could I say, they have been done with the vision of making a place that is safe, that is livable, that has dignity, has its own shower, toiletries, all of that, everything you need. There is a kitchen outside for everyone, and there's also a potential to build a culinary facility for training. And wraparound services are offered. We even were able to put a dog park there. Can you imagine that? So it really is about taking this whole issue in a different direction. But we're not just relying on things that help the homeless. We're also looking at prevention in terms of poverty. And I do want to draw your attention that we're also dedicating about $2 million of our American Rescue Plan funds to what we call the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. Some of you may be familiar with it, the VITA program. And that is also providing assistance to people that would have otherwise left money on the table that they could qualify for when they do their taxes. And many of our community members need that assistance. Just want to say that other things that we're doing that you may have heard of around the state of California, we kind of took the idea from Fresno, the mayor there a while back, that looked at providing a guaranteed income. So in this program that we've created at the county, it's called the Breathe. It's a pilot program that will provide 1,000 eligible residents with $1,000 per month for 3 years. And it's available now. People can go online until April 13th, and they can visit breathe.lacounty.gov for more information. And another guaranteed basic income program that I have spearheaded with Department of Social Services is dedicated for individuals in the transitional age youth programs. And it's meant to help them receive additional funding as well. So it's going to be a pilot program for that population. Many of those young people coming out of our foster care system or probation end up on the streets. And they need to have funding and assistance so they can rent and they can get their immediate needs taken care of. So I know there's a lot to say, a lot to do, and I know that this has been a really interesting conversation that you all have had, and we're going to continue to be a part of it at the County of Los Angeles, and I'm happy to have been here to share a few words with you and to really thank you for doing this today. So I'd like to present this to the BizFed Institute in recognition of their dedicated service, if I might present this. And one last goodie here for my very favorite University of Southern California. Sorry. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Supervisor, I simply want to say we're delighted that you're our alumna, and you're always welcome to your home. So don't make it like since you graduated next time. Well, thank you very much to all of you. I appreciate Kevin and Tracy and others at BizFed for joining us today at the University of Southern California. I hope that we've all learned something and that we can appreciate that this is all about us doing something together, and it's all about those collaborations and bringing down those silos so that we bring human dignity to a challenge that faces us and continues to face us, but we're all in it together. If we divide ourselves, we will never conquer this. So with that, Kevin, thank you again, and we're going to stand adjourned.
I just want to say a few words and thank you to our sponsors, BYD, LA Community College District, National Corps, Supervisor Solis, Supervisor Barger, and also in partnership with USC Saul Price Executive Education. Thank you, Dr. Zeronian, and also to our BizFed Institute and USC team. If you all would stand, just to let you know who the masterminds behind this. Stand up, stand up. Want to thank you all. Happy Friday. We got a lot of work to do, a lot of good stuff we heard today. Stay tuned for the recap. We'll be sending it out to you. Thank you so much, folks.